Hey everybody, this is Larry from Hobby Progress, and today we are going to be doing a small recap on how I messed up on a Tech Priest Dominus. So in the last episode, I was assembling a Tech Priest Dominus, and it was really getting on my nerves. So I took a little break, did a Google search, found a picture, and finished that Tech Priest up. So, got him fully assembled. Still hard to see on the video, but got all that on. So where I was actually going wrong is on the pistol arm back here. I couldn't figure out if that actually went there because of the positioning, but with a little closer look, found that out. So he's got that. And then I kept thinking that this piece right here was part of the arm. I know it's still really hard to see. Turns out that's an alternate head. You get to looking at it a little closer. It's got a face on it. So it doesn't even go where I thought it went. And then where I thought the alternate head went is actually the rest of the arm mount in which I put the plasma on. Just because it looks super cool. Not because I'll ever play it by those rules. But either way, Tech Priest Dominus, all finished up, looking cool. Well, all finished up. All assembled. So, yeah. So you don't have to hear me ramble on anymore about being upset about putting him together. Now, today is going to be a little bit of hobby ADD. I've got a couple of projects sitting in front of me that I want to kind of work on. I've got these two old school metal Tyrant Guard. I've had these for a long time, painted up, but they never had bases on them because I don't know if I just didn't want to put the bases on them or if they didn't come with them originally. But either way, I had some old bases from a set of Warriors that I used to own. I actually got a third one. So I went ahead and put them on bases while you weren't looking. And so today I'm actually going to go ahead and put the basing material on them. Because everything needs a base. I mean, it's just not fair to play otherwise. And then I've got a couple of Ripper Swarms that I'm actually going to be working on today. I got 3 because that's what comes in a squad, and that's what's running in my tournament list, which is next weekend. So as of recording this, it's early morning on Sunday, and that's not when this is going to come out. I'm probably going to save it so you don't overdose on my awesomeness, because you know, I understand you mere mortals cannot stand this much awesome. So, but yeah, that leaves me just a week to go until my tournament. And there is no way in hell I'm getting as much done for that tournament as I originally wanted. So, yeah. And these, believe it or not, are not even going to be running in my list as Tyrant Guard. Because I'm running Flying Hive Tyrants, obviously, because they're just fantastic. And way better than any walking Hive Tyrant would be. Okay, minus the Swarm Lord. The Swarm Lord's friggin' cool. Friggin' dust on my base. That's awesome. Either way, but Tyrant Guard don't have a super good place in my list. They used to, back before Flying Hive Tyrants existed. And that's when I bought these. They used to have a pretty good place, because when your Hive Tyrant is having to march across the board, you need something that can take those wounds off of him. And these guys used to be able to. that's still the role they play. Is a lot like I don't know if you have a Tau drone player in your meta. Um, you need something to protect your big fancy Hive Tyrant that you spent all these points on, and that everyone's super scared of, rightfully so. And then they fire all their guns at it, and it goes down turn one. I'm like, really? That sucks. That's what was happening to me, because my meta was my brother in the basement playing against Tau. So, rail cannons do awful, awful things to Hive Tyrants. And when they're on foot, and you have no way of adding minuses to hit, you're just screwed. You're gonna die. And so my Hive Tyrant was going down all the time, which means that Synapse was gone all the time. And back then, that was 5th edition, I believe. You lose Synapse, it was bad. I mean, it was really bad. Like, your own stuff's eating itself and each other. Bad. I know that's not the case today. You lose Synapse, it's like, oh no, you just have to charge the nearest model, or you get negatives to charge, or you have to shoot the nearest model. You know, negatives to leadership, you're not fearless. No, back then, it was catastrophic. You know, I'm not saying it's not bad today. You know, it's still bad. You still need Synapse. It's not like you can just ignore, Synapse. I'm just saying your whole army doesn't fall apart turn 2 when, friggin' broadsides blow your friggin' Hive Tyrant and any warriors you had off the board. So yeah, that was my meta. That's how I learned to play Tyranids. And it worked. It worked in my, in my little area. Tyranids were pretty freaking awesome. I'm sitting here complaining about them, ragging on them. It's like, no. It's not that Tyranids were bad. I just had a different brand of play. And as I think I've said in other videos, I'm new to the tournament scene. I never used to play competitive. I played basement Warhammer. There was no there was no one other than my brother and a couple of friends that played, and we didn't play seriously. We played seriously enough to play by the rules and everything, but we didn't play seriously as in like hyper competitive. So I had like a couple armies to play against, and Tau were one of them. And his Tau played, as Tau did. Gun line. I'm on my side of the board, and I'm going to shoot you, and I'm going to destroy whatever I shoot at. That's how he played. Now, he had a couple of ideas to move his Tau into armored infantry towards the end, when we were moving into, like, I gotta say we started playing in, must have been 4th edition. I had to look at my old books. But either way, and moving into armored infantry, so load up all your fire warriors and devilfish, and move up and take objectives. And now you gotta remember too, we're not playing ICC here, so we're playing out of book missions and stuff like that. So objective grabbing wasn't as big a deal. It was more kill everything that you see kind of meta. So my Tyranids did really good against that, because if he tried to move up and take objectives and stuff, I was always pretty fast. You know, I could meet him right there on the objective, if not beat him to it. You know, Devilfish are no slouches. They're relatively fast. You know, they're skimmers. Back when skimmer was a thing. And, you know, it's cool. But yeah, you got to protect your stuff. That's where I went with this. So that is what these were for. That is not what they're for now. These, in the tournament, I've asked permission to proxy and do a little plays as. So these represent Hive Guard. So this is taking place like a month after Adepticon. Now at Adepticon, Tyranids showed up in a big way to dominate part of the meta there, because they are a fantastic counter to Eldar. And Eldar ruled LVO, the Las Vegas Open. And it makes sense. You know, they were good. But Tyranids were the hard counter to Eldar. So, of course, everyone saw that, oh, Eldar did really good at LVO, so everyone's going to copy and paste the top lists from LVO. Not everyone, you know, but the bottom players are copy and paste the top lists of LVO to take to Adepticon. Right? Because that's the next huge United States game. Well, the top players were smart, changed their game up, and went Tyranids. And so Tyranids made this big showing. And one of the lists was Hive Guard. Lots of Hive Guard. I don't have the list in front of me, but it was something like 5 squads of Hive Guard or something like that. It was a lot. But the big deal with Hive Guard is they can shoot without line of sight. They have complete line of sight blocking. Again, if you watched the last episode, I'm recording these back to back, but I'm not going to post them back to back. I got off work early, so I'm having a few beers. Again, if that offends you, quit watching my channel. I don't care. So yeah, Hive Guard don't require line of sight. And they're like Strength 8, AP 1, you know, I think they're 1 damage, maybe 2 damage hits. Either way, they're pretty decent hits, and they're, you know, artillery. So, but what I'm trying to get to is the fact that Adepticon friggin' had that list in there, and people saw it, so people ordered all the friggin' Hive Guard that GW had to offer. So, yeah. I can't order Hive Guard for my list, even though I only want 3. I don't want to friggin' have 5 squads of them. So I was thinking, well, you know, what would be cool? You know, maybe I'll get an Exogreen, the big one. Friggin' shoots the plasma cannon off its back. So maybe I'll get one of those. One of those would be cool, right? They're sold out too. Turns out everyone found out that those were cool. I don't own one. So can't use an Exocrine. Biovores. I thought, yeah, you know, let's get some Biovores. Those will be cool. Well, I'm not made of money. And Biovores are like $45 each. My local game store has 1 in stock. But for Biovores to be effective, you really need at least 3 of them. I'd like to run 2 squads of them. So I was looking at buying 6 Biovores, $45 a piece. You know, I don't have, what is that? $135, right? No. Yeah, $135 per squad. So that's $270. I don't know, check my math. Comment in the section below if I do my math wrong. Or if you even care. But I'm not paying 200 and something dollars, you know, almost $300 for damn Hive Guard. Or not Hive Guard, Biovores. To be super effective in Biovores. Either way, the guy I sent all my painting to, one of my friends, came through for me, and he has an old Finecast Biovore. And he's willing to trade it to me. So I'm like, or not Biovore, Hive Guard. God dang it. Anyway, he's got an old Hive Guard. And like I said, he's willing to trade it to me. So I'm making that trade. And I'm going to take that one Hive Guard and mix it with my 2 Tyrant Guard to make a squad of 3 Tyrant Guard. Like, that'll be cool. That'll work out great. And that'll get me a little bit of my artillery from my list. Now, as I know you are hanging on every word that I say, you'll remember that my list includes 3 Hive Guard and then 3 Carnifexes. So that's my main artillery for my list for this RTT. That is in 1 week, which will be less than a week by the time I post this. Staring me in the face. And so yeah, I needed artillery. You know, I needed something with a ranged threat. Because as it stands right now, I have zero, well, not zero ranged threat, but I have very little actual ranged threat in my list. It's actually, I mean, it's not hard for Tyranids to get a ranged threat in their life, but we just don't have the options of, say, like Space Marines, or the obvious option is Tau. You know, if you want a ranged threat, you know, we don't have that. You know, you see Tyranids in the lore, and you're looking at them, and you're going, well, they're an assault army. That's what Tyranids are. But in 8th edition, that's not what you have. I mean, that's not what you end up being. You can't be just an assault army. That's just not how. That's not how it works out. You'll get shot off the board. So, I decided to add some shooting to my lists. And the shooting that I decided to add is apparently the shooting that everyone else decided to add to. And so I'm having difficulty. But with a little bit of trading, it'll work out fine. And I've asked the TO at the tournament, and he said that proxy will be fine. This is not a huge tournament, so they're not super stickler about a little bit of plays as being on the table. You know, I wouldn't attempt this at a big GT or something like that. But I don't play at big GTs, so I don't think that's an issue I'll ever really run into. Wow, I really put too much paint on my brush and have just a mess. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at there. So, long story short, the moral of the story that you should be taking out of this is follow the meta. And if you are wanting to buy stuff that did well in the last tournament, do it extremely quick after you see the results of that tournament come out. Don't wait. Buy it. Because it'll be sold out for weeks. Maybe even months, depending on how popular it was before the tournament. Tyranids were not super popular before this. So it's extremely hard to find these things. Even on eBay. People are asking ridiculous prices for it on eBay. And I don't usually like buying my minis on eBay. You know? I like supporting my local game store. You know? It's just insane. Anyway. That was a whole project to go. You're like, you're not even working on those things anymore. Why are you talking about them? Because I wasn't done talking about them, dang it. Leave me alone. So, what I'm working on now is my rippers. This project is going to take a lot longer than I kind of thought it was going to. So I bought these rippers. Actually, I don't think I did buy these rippers. I think I traded for these rippers. Ages ago. In all honesty, until recently, it never even occurred to me to take rippers in an army list. I mean, I overlooked them. I dang near forgot that they existed on my army lists. So I never collected them. I never paid attention to them. They come on like every box set sprue you get. Like every box of Gene Stealers comes with like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 of them. Warriors come with a couple of them. You know, they come in everything, but you can't buy them separately. Well, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't think you can buy them separately. So, I never really focused on them. Because, I mean, they're not that good. Even in previous editions, they weren't all that good. But what I'm using them for now is to fill out a detachment, for one. And as a small little objective secured thing, because they're troops. So they have objective secured. So you can pop these little rippers up, they deep strike, and blam, you've got an objective. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, I think it's pretty freaking cool. So all of a sudden, and I have to admit, I'm bandwagoning this one. Where I first noticed, and honestly, I probably would have noticed it a lot sooner had I followed my own advice, and that I just gave y'all, and watched meta. But like I said, I just now started playing competitively, so I really didn't pay attention to the competitive lists. But either way, looked at the Adepticon lists. Everyone is running just bunches and bunches of these Ripper Swarms because they don't run troops. Because the big meta that came out of Adepticon was Flying Hive Tyrants. not the Hive Guard that I'm upset about. But that was one list. Like, the other dozen Tyranid players were running Flying Hive Tyrants. Well, if you're wanting to run a battalion to get command points, you've got to have troops. 3 troops, 1 to 3 HQ, or 2 to 3 HQs. So in their battalions, they were running like 3 Ripper Swarm, 3 Ripper Swarm squads, which is 3 bases of Ripper Swarms, and like 3 Hive Tyrants. And they were doing that like 2 or 3 times, and that's getting you all your Rippers. Or that's getting you all your command points. That's getting you to your detachments, and it's filling out your little battalions. So you're getting all your command points, and then they're using the Rippers to hold objectives while the Hive Tyrants are up in your face doing all the work. It's crazy. It's just something I never thought of, because again, I'm not a competitive player. So yeah, in my list, I needed some Rippers to fill out my battalion, because my battalion, while it includes troops, I don't have the points to include enough troops. So I've got 2 big blobs of Gene Stealers. So 2 20-man squads of Gene Stealers. But those are expensive. That's not just a cheap little squad to run out there. And instead of taking like a little 8-man squad of Gene Stealers to fill out the detachment, which is what I was originally going to do, I decided, well, let me dig through my collection, and oh look, I've got a couple Ripper Swarms. Yeah, that's right, the guys at Adepticon are running Ripper Swarms, so let's pull those suckers out, dust them off, and let's run a detachment, or a squad of Rippers. Fill out that list. Make it look all good. And then people will look at you like, oh, he knows what he's doing, maybe. Or they'll probably look at you like, oh no, he just copied and pasted the Adepticon list. But anyone in my meta knows that I'm not copying and pasting anybody's list, because I'm not a good enough player to copy and paste a list and make it work. I don't believe that works. If you're copying and pasting lists, I don't think you're winning games. Because it still takes skill to play that list. So, you may look at my list and then, actually take my advice and go look at those winning lists and say, well, and you'll realize that I'm not actually copying those. My list has some similar strategy, but it's not anywhere close to the same. So small recap. I'm looking at, because I think I've actually made some changes since I posted it up. And I'll probably make some more changes because I have a practice game today, which will actually be my first on-table run of this list. So I'll be interested to see how it actually performs, on the table. But I'm looking at a battalion detachment of Kraken. I was running Leviathan, decided to run Kraken. Because I wanted, instead of the 6-up feel no pain that I was gaining from Leviathan, it turns out I've been reading the rule for Leviathan wrong this entire time I've been playing Tyranid since the Codex came out. I thought that if you had the Leviathan Hive Fleet keyword, that you gained a 6-up feel no pain, right? That's not true. You have to still be within 6 inches of Synapse to gain the 6-up feel no pain, which isn't nearly as good as I thought it was. No, I'm not saying that's bad, because it's not. It's not bad. It's actually still pretty good. But it's not what I thought it was, because, I mean, Synapse range gets shot out. You know, everyone's focusing fire on your Synapse. And so you're losing your feel no pains where they count. So I decided to get rid of that, and I decided to go Kraken. Because Kraken rolls 3d6 for charges. And then takes the highest. So by taking Kraken, my Gene Stealers and my Hive Tyrants are getting to, hopefully, make all their charges a lot easier. So anyway, back to the list. Looking at 2 Flying Hive Tyrants in my HQ slot. And those are going to be running Monstrous Scything Talons and Twin Devourers, not Twin-linked, but Twin Devourers with Brain Leech Worms, which I think are pretty cool. Oh, also, the other bonus that Kraken gets you, which is super cool, is they allow you to fall back and assault, and then re-assault, which was great for Flying Hive Tyrants, because they could already, because they have the fly keyword, they could already fall back and shoot, but now, with Kraken, they can fall back, shoot, and re-assault every turn. Now, yeah, I'll have to absorb Overwatch, but so what? I have to fall back, shoot, and re-assault. Hopefully, if I've already assaulted you once, you've been, if you're a vehicle, you've been degraded or whatever. Allows me to do that. If you're not a vehicle, hopefully I've killed you. Consolidated into something else, hit you. I mean, it just gives me a little bit of versatility. Or if I've hit you, didn't kill you, but need to move on to something else, like I hit your screen, your little infantry screen, and really want to move on to the character that's right next to you, I can hit you, bounce off, and try to attack that character. Or move over a little bit, or something like that. It gives me a little more versatility. So, I think it's just a little bit better. So, I did that. And then, to make up for the loss of the 6-up Feel No Pain on, my monstrous creatures, I added I gave all my Hive Tyrants Catalyst as one of their psychic powers. Because I was taking the Horror and then Catalyst and different ones. So at least one of my Flying Hive Tyrants will have Catalyst on, hopefully, if they can pass the psychic tests. And they will have a 5-up Feel No Pain. So that'll be something else. And then so yeah, I've got my Hive Tyrants with the Twin Link Devourers, or Twin Devourers, Brain Leech Worms. And I realize I just put paint down, but we are going to have to break the seal. So I'll be right back. And I'm back. Thanks for bearing with me on that short little break. So where was I? Yeah, so I got the Hive Tyrants in there, and that's my HQ for my battalion. Then you've got 2 squads of 20 Gene Stealers. I think I've already gone over that for my troops, with 1 squad of Ripper Swarms. Then you go into heavy support. Now, heavy support is where my Carnifexes are sitting. 3 Carnifexes with heavy venom cannons and 2 Devourers with brain leech worms. So they're another batch of shooting. And they are going to constantly be on the advance, trying to, shoot out and break screens up and do their jobs. And then you move over to a Vanguard detachment, because I'm going to have 2 detachments. So you move over to a Vanguard detachment with a Tyranid Prime, which is a cheap HQ. And I'm planning on putting a Tyranid Prime out there with a Norn Crown, and he's my Warlord. He's going to sit on the back lines with the rest of my Vanguard detachment. And with the Norn Crown relic, his synapse is increased to 30 inches. So he'll be able to provide synapse to my whole back line and give my artillery synapse coverage with just 1 model. That's a little dangerous because you can get him shot off, and I don't particularly like that, but hopefully I can keep it nice and tight, keep it protected, and not let my artillery get shot off. I should also throw out that I am making them Leviathan. So I'm going back with the 6-up Feel No Pain, because it's not just my artillery that's in this detachment. So I've got Hive Guard, which are going to be sitting back and laying down the law. My Carnifexes will be back there doing that as well. But I've got my Zoanthropes in this detachment. So with Leviathan, Zoanthropes will always be within 6 inches of a synapse because they are synapse, therefore gaining the 6-up Feel No Pain, making them more durable because they have a 3-up invulnerable save and now a 6-up Feel No Pain. Because the goal there, I forgot to say, in the main battalion too, is Tyrannocyte. I'm pointing over here because there's a Tyrannocyte sitting on the table over there that you can't see. is a Tyrannocyte, and the Tyrannocyte is what's going to be dropping those zoanthropes onto the table. And they're going to be dropping right in your face. And throwing smite at you and doing all kinds of awful. And so when smite's coming at you and everything like that, you know, you have no choice but to shoot them. Otherwise, you know, you'll be getting tore up. So I'm hoping that that will confuse enough people that they'll shoot at them, ignore the Carnifexes and Gene Stealers popping up, and give them a chance at getting into combat. Because they normally don't get that chance. They're normally getting all shot to hell, turn 1 and 2. Damn, I'm really bad at this list review stuff. I don't have it in front of me. There's also 3 Venom Thropes in there to help guard the Gene Stealers. But they'll be dead turn 1 too. Because, well, they're literally there to protect, you know, Gene Stealers, to make them -1 to hit. So, yeah. So I've done a super detailed job of getting green on my Ripper Swarms, as you can see. Again, I'm using just give you a quick recap of my color scheme here. I'm using the Deathworld Forest from Citadel as my base green. And then I'm using an Army Painter matte black right now. But just because I want to use it up. But Abaddon Black does really good for all their Carapace, which is actually where I'm going to move to now. And then I use Screaming Skull from Citadel as my bone. And then I use what is it? It's another Army Painter Strong Tone ink, which is basically just Nuln Oil. It really is almost identical to Nuln Oil for the whole shade, and it comes out really cool. I also like highlight their eyes red and their tongues red because it looks super neat. Either way, I'm gonna go back and use the black because I got green all over their carapace. So I got to re-hit the black. Like I said, these were not mine to begin with, so they were spray painted. Looks like black, and it actually obscured some of the detail on them. It's a little bit of a bummer. But no one in the history of ever is picking up your Ripper Swarms to nitpick your painting. At least no one that I've ever seen. So, I'm actually thinking about stepping down. Yeah, I'm going to. I have smaller brush because they got really small carapace here. I know I've said it before on here. My painting is very, very much tabletop quality. I'm not winning any competitions. I just want them to look good on the table. You know, I don't want I don't need them to, you know, have people oohing and awing over my army. I want a painted army, and I want my army to look good on a table. That is my goal. If I can get that, I am happy. And I think I get that. You know, I don't think my paint jobs look bad. They don't look good. I mean, they don't look... I think they look good enough. And good enough is fine. Did I use enough little analogies there for you? Did you track where I was going with that? I mean, for heaven's sakes. I lost track of where I was going with that. But that's what it gets to a lot of people in this hobby is they get all intimidated and they think, I've got to have white dwarf quality miniatures, because that's what I see in all the pictures. Like next to no one plays with those armies. The ones you see in the magazines and online don't hit the tabletop like ever. They live on those display stands. Now a few of them do. I mean, if you go to the tournaments and stuff, you'll see some pretty like showcase quality armies, hitting tables. There will be some, but not many. A lot of the big competitive players are either commissioning armies or have 3-color minimum, style armies. So don't feel bad when you don't have this beautifully painted army hitting the table. You are the rule, not the exception. At least in my experience, which is limited. I'll admit. But, that being said, you've heard me talk about wanting to get my Titans on the board and maybe even starting my Mechanicus army. And you've heard me talk about owning Custodians, which I'll have to get on the channel eventually. And show you guys those. They're in a display case at the store that I play at. So they'll have to be brought out eventually. But, I have all of that commission painted for me. I trade minis and stuff to get that stuff painted for me. I don't trust myself to paint these giant, beautiful minis. Now the Custodians I could have painted. You always hear people saying, "No, they're not that hard of a paint job to paint," and I realize that they're not. If you want a basic color scheme on them, they're not. I didn't want a basic color scheme on them. I wanted them to be, high-end quality. That's why I paid to have them painted. And they look freaking amazing. But also, when I was paying to have them painted, originally, they weren't a Codex army. I honestly thought I was paying to have a display army painted. I never thought I was going to get to play them. I thought they were just going to be looking cool in a display case. Turns out I was wrong. They got a Codex in 8th edition, and they're really actually pretty good. I'm not saying that they're competitive. I would probably never play them in a big tournament. I played them in a doubles tournament. I didn't win. But now they've exploded up into a whole army. So I'm having my whole army painted so that they'll all look good. But that's, like I said, this is not something that you'll find an awful lot. Not a lot of people do this. So what I'm trying to say in this long, roundabout, drawn-out way is don't worry about it. Paint your own minis. You know, it's not as intimidating as you might think. They'll look fine. It's fun. I think you get more of your money's worth out of the hobby when you do it this way. And there's a sense of pride to a finished, hand-painted mini. And, you know, throwing them across the table at people. Which is apparently what I'm trying to do. But yeah. It's a little bit about Ripper Swarms. A little bit about painting. A little bit about the hobby. It's all good stuff. I think these Ripper Swarms are going to look cool. I'm going to eventually need to get more of them. Actually takes longer to paint these than you might think. They got lots of little facets to them. They look cool though. One thing I've noticed though, this is like the Ripper Swarm that I'm not painting currently, that I only have one of at the moment. Came out of my Gene Stealer box. I'll show them to you here in a second. They look quite a bit different. They've got the what's it called? The Spine Maw Rippers. And I don't actually run them with the Spine Maw. Here, I'll show you. Like this one's. They got the beak on them. I don't run those. They cost more points. And the point of Rippers is to not cost points, right? I explained that. So I'm not sure why you'd run the Spine Maw ones. I mean, it's just an option. I think it's just like one of those fluff things. So I don't, and I'm gonna have to do some more digging because, like I said, I never really paid that much attention to Rippers before. I have to do some digging and find out where the non-Spine Maw Rippers are coming from. Because the majority of mine are going to be coming from the Gene Stealer boxes, which all have Spine Maws. And I have a lot of Gene Stealers running around. I think I'm currently up to 60, working my way towards 80 Gene Stealers. May never run that. But for an Apocalypse game, I'm going to want a bunch of them, right? And I like to play Apocalypse games. I usually get about one a year in. Tyranids are a fun army to play in an Apocalypse game. You need some. You know, you need plenty of Rippers in there to be the first wave, to be the first ones in. You know, hitting the enemy, you know, soaking up fire. Because in an Apocalypse game, it's not really about winning or losing. It's just about throwing models at each other. I mean, obviously you still want to win. You want to throw your faction to the top, but you play a little more fluffy, you know, so you're rippers and stuff are up there on the front lines soaking up bolt shells, doing what Tyranids do best, you know, eating infantry models and causing fear and disruption in the enemy lines. So I'm going to eventually need more. I'm going to have to figure out where those come in. So if you know what sprue holds traditional rippers, let me know. Because you can email me at hobbyprogress@gmail.com or leave the comment in the comments section on this video and I will find it. You can also email me any suggestions for the show that you might have or any comments about my videos that you may have. And I may or may not answer them. I will try. Alright, so we got black on my Ripper Swarms. Got all their carapaces done. Now, we're going to do a little bit of work on the bone. Like I said, for the bone, I use a Screaming Skull, a Citadel layer, Screaming Skull, to get the bone on there. And this will be their teeth and their claws. Mostly their teeth, because that'll be the big spot. Not sure how much of the claws I'm actually going to be able to get. I don't know. We'll see what kind of detail I can manage to pull out of this. Try not to get carried away. I don't know if I've said it before, but this little Citadel texture tool, a little Citadel spatula, works great for getting paint out of the little pots. Because you want to try to avoid painting straight out of the pot, because they dry out really fast if you paint like that. Man, I know I'm not helping any, so I have little room to complain, but whoever spray painted these really went heavy. And then me not stripping them before I got started didn't help. Some of the detail is getting lost. But, as I said earlier, if someone is picking up your Ripper Swarms and examining them, and you're not in a painting competition, well, tell them to go suck it, because that's seriously, these aren't showcase minis. You know, they don't warrant scrutiny on that level. You know. Now, if you are overspraying and losing all kinds of detail on like a Hive Tyrant or a Trigon, then, well, shame on you, because that's a big mini. It's going to get picked up. It's going to get looked at. You know, little things matter on those. But those are your big, impressive minis. Those are minis even I take a little more pride in, put a little more work into, do my thing. I actually have a Trigon sitting off screen. It's waiting to get painted. It'll be my third. Actually, it's a Moloch. It'll be my second Moloch. So I have like one Trigon and two Molochs. So I'm kind of excited to get that done too. But they're on the side burner because they're not in my current tournament list. So yeah, dropping paintbrushes. Man, so much detail gets lost. Ridiculous. There's something else I was going to talk to you guys about today. Totally missing it. I'll think about it here in a second. As we let dead space all over the video. But yeah, when you get into painting teeth, this is something that takes a second. But as soon as we get the teeth done, we can move on to, well, teeth and claws. We can move on to eyes and tongues. Getting the red on. And then we can actually, we'll probably end up washing the whole mini first. And then we'll move on to tongues and eyes. Crazy how many little details you start finding when you look at it, like, these little minis, this won't take nothing to paint, so small. Yeah, not the case. Not the case at all. Man, really don't know what I was going to talk about. I was going to show you guys something. I have no idea what it is now. Oh, I know what it was. So, like I said, today I'm looking at getting a practice game in with this RTT list that I've been talking about forever and ever. But I'm also should be making a trade. Actually purchasing, I think, on this one. Be making a purchase of a Tyrannofex, which I'm super excited about. Because that is just a big nasty bug. And hopefully soon I'll have him on. And we'll be painting that up. The other thing I wanted to look at is, I really want you to comment in the comments on this and see if you'd be at all interested in watching any suggestions for battle reports. I'm playing with the idea. Think I've got the equipment set up to make battle reports. And they'll probably be small to start with, but I really think it'd be super fun because I've seen lots of battle reports online, other stuff on YouTube people are doing, and some of them, they just don't do the armies that I want to see or something like that. So I'm really, really, really wanting to do these battle reports. So if it's something that you'd like to see too, please email me or comment in the video or any of the videos and let me know about it. Tell me what armies you want to see. Tell me what kinds of battle reports you want to see. Hopefully, I will get to those soon. So like I said, I think they'd be a lot of fun. And, you can see, like, maybe I'll post up, some of my practice sessions with this army. Well, maybe not this exact army, because probably by the time I play it, or I get around to filming these battle reports, I'll have played it and realize that it was awful, and I didn't do what I wanted it to do, and no one will want to see a junky army played. But you're going to have to bear with me on battle reports, because I don't want to bring unpainted minis to the battle report table. So that is going to be my motivation, my additional motivation to getting all these minis painted. I'll be bringing you decent looking battle reports with decent looking minis. So again, you can get a hold of me by emailing me at hobbyprogress@gmail.com or commenting in the video notes. Seriously, why is it that no matter what angle you hold the mini, there's always a spot that you miss? It's ridiculous. Especially when you're batch painting. When you're painting more than one mini at a time. Just never fails. Always something you miss. Crazy. I think these are going to look good though. Some serious hobby ADD though. Like, I'm already getting bored with painting rippers, and I'm like, I want to, do something else. It's bad. It's real bad. It's like, come on, focus. Focus. Bear through it.